What if I told you the richest people on earth don't have a secret formula, a magic investment, or rich parents to thank for most of their success? What they do have are habits, small, repeatable, almost boring habits that they've stuck to for decades while everyone else gave up after a week. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to break down 7 habits shared by billionaires across completely different industries: tech, retail, finance, entertainment, and show you exactly how to start applying them today, even if your bank account looks nothing like theirs right now. Stick around to the end, because habit number 5 is the one almost nobody talks about, and it might be the most important one on this list. Let's get into it. Quick note before we start. I'm not saying these habits will make you a billionaire overnight. Wealth building takes time, luck, and circumstance. But the mindset and discipline behind these habits, those are 100% available to you, starting today, regardless of your starting point. So let's break down how the wealthiest people on the planet actually spend their time. Habit 1. They treat time like the only non-renewable resource. Billionaires obsess over time in a way most people never do. Warren Buffett has said no is one of the most important words in his vocabulary. He turns down the vast majority of meetings, calls, and requests that land on his desk because every hour given to one thing is an hour taken from something else. This isn't about cramming more into your day. It's the opposite. It's about ruthlessly cutting away anything that doesn't move the needle. Many high performers plan their calendars in tight blocks, sometimes down to 5-minute increments, treating their schedule less like a to-do list and more like a budget they refuse to overspend. On-screen text: protect your calendar like it's your bank account. Actionable tip for viewer: try this today. Look at your calendar for next week and cancel or delegate one thing that doesn't align with your top goal. Just one. That's how the habit starts. Habit 2. They read relentlessly, and with Purposeful, this one is almost a cliche at this point. But it's a cliche because it's true. Bill Gates reads roughly 50 books a year. Buffett has said he spends most of his working day reading. Mark Cuban has talked publicly about consuming several hours of reading daily just to stay ahead of industry trends. The pattern isn't read for entertainment. It's reading as a tool, for pattern recognition, for learning from other people's mistakes without having to make them yourself, and for staying current in a world that changes fast. On-screen text: reading is compounding interest for your brain. Actionable tip: pick one nonfiction book in your field this month. Not for pleasure, for extraction. Take notes. Apply one idea within a week of finishing it. Habit 3. They get uncomfortable on purpose. A huge number of highly successful entrepreneurs deliberately build discomfort into their routines. Early workouts, cold exposure, difficult conversations they don't put off. It's not about punishment. It's about training the nervous system to stay calm under pressure, because business at a high level is essentially a never-ending series of stressful, high-stakes decisions. If you can't handle discomfort in small, controlled doses, you won't be able to handle it when a deal falls through, a product launch fails, or a key employee quits on a Friday afternoon. On-screen text: comfort is where growth goes to die. Actionable tip: pick one small, uncomfortable thing to do this week. A hard conversation you've been avoiding, a cold shower, a workout before sunrise. Discomfort tolerance is a trainable skill. Habit 4. They surround themselves with people smarter than them. No billionaire built their fortune entirely alone, no matter how the headlines frame it. What separates them is a willingness to hire and listen to people who know more than they do in a given area. Ego is expensive. The moment you think you're the smartest person in every room, you stop growing. This also shows up in mentorship. Many of the world's wealthiest people had a mentor early on who shaped how they thought about risk, money, or leadership, and many of them now deliberately mentor others in return. On-screen text: your network is your net worth, but only if you actually listen to it. Actionable tip: identify one person in your life or industry who knows more than you about something you care about. Reach out this week. Ask one specific question. Habit 5. They treat failure as data, not identity. Here's the one almost nobody talks about, and I think it's the most important habit on this entire list. Billionaires fail constantly, publicly, expensively, The difference is how they process it. Instead of treating a failure as proof that they're not good enough, they treat it as information, a data point that tells them what to adjust next time. This is a subtle but massive mental shift. I fail becomes that approach failed. The identity stays intact, the strategy gets updated, and the person moves forward instead of spiraling. This is a huge reason why so many successful entrepreneurs have multiple failed businesses in their past before the one that worked. On-screen text. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the process. Actionable tip. Next time something goes wrong this week, write down one sentence. What does this teach me? Not why did I fail? What does it teach you? Same event, completely different mental outcome. Habit 6. They protect their morning routine. Almost every highly successful person you'll research has some version of a consistent, protected morning routine, often involving quiet time before anyone else in their world wakes up. Exercise, planning, reading, journaling. The specifics vary, but the principle doesn't. The first hour of the day sets the tone for the other 15. The people who build fortunes are rarely reacting to their inbox the second they open their eyes. They're proactive before the world gets a chance to make them reactive. On-screen text. Win the morning, win the day. Actionable tip. Pick just one non-negotiable for the first 30 minutes of your day this week. No phone, a walk, 5 minutes of planning. Small but protected. Habit 7. They think in decades, not days. This is the thread that ties everything together. Billionaires overwhelmingly think in long time horizons. Years and decades, not weeks and quarters. Jeff Bezos has talked openly about long-term thinking as a competitive advantage because most people and most companies are only willing to wait a couple of years for a payoff. If you're willing to wait 10, you're barely competing with anyone. This patience shows up in how they invest, how they build companies, and how they treat their own skill development. They're not chasing a quick win. They're compounding quietly for a very long time. On-screen text. Patience is the ultimate competitive advantage. Actionable tip. Ask yourself, what's one thing you could start now that would only pay off in 5 years? And are you willing to start it today anyway? Let's run through them one more time. They protect their time like a scarce resource. They read constantly and with purpose. They get comfortable being uncomfortable. They surround themselves with people smarter than them. They treat failure as data, not identity. They protect their morning routine. They think in decades, not days. None of these require a trust fund. None of them require a head start. They require consistency, which, honestly, is the hardest and most boring ingredient of all. But it's the one that actually works. If you found this valuable, hit subscribe. I break down the real habits and mindsets behind high performers every single week. No fluff, no hype. And let me know in the comments, which of these 7 habits are you going to start with this week? I read every comment, and I'll pin my favorite answer. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.